This is an oral history interview with Louis Freed by Gregory A. Lewis, conducted on the afternoon of April 10th, 1981, at the home of Mr. Freed, 59 Cook Street, Nonantum, Massachusetts. This interview is conducted as part of the Public History course at Boston College, led by Professor Alan Rogers. This interview is part of an oral history project sponsored by the Newton Free Library to find out what life was like in Nonantum in the years 1920 to 1950 from the perspective of the people who lived through the time.
What's eventually going to come of this?
Well, it's the Newton Public Library that's sponsoring it, and I think just to preserve the culture and history of Nonantum, as time progresses, it's sort of lost. So they're comprehensively trying to do the history of Nonantum. Okay. So I guess we could probably just start right after World War I. You lived here your whole life.
Yeah.
So after the war, did things sort of change for your family?
Well, I had a brother that was in Europe during World War I, the Yankee 26th Division. But he came back and war was over in 18. I was working on the victory plant in Squantum. My family wanted me to get a job like that with hopes to keep me out because I had a brother in France and we were making our sacrifice. Of course, I wasn't of age anyway. I was only 17 years of age.
Right.
In fact, when they came around the victory plant looking for our registrations, I didn't have any because they hadn't reached 18.
Sure.
So the officer thought that I was, I was faking. So they locked me up and...
Did they?
Yeah. And I got a hold of my boss and got my work certificate out of it and showed that I was only 17. And before I reached 18, the armistice was declared. I was 17 then, in November, and the armistice was, I was 17 in April, and the armistice was declared in November.
Right.
And
So
I didn't have to even register, and then for World War II, I was too old. Yeah, so it was fortunate.
So your life didn't change that much with the war. You went to work in the...
No, I went back to work for my father in the store.
After the war was over?
After the war was over, sure.
And what kind of store was this?
Department store.
Selling all kinds of things?
Everything. Clothing, shoes, everything. Men and women.
And this was after you had gone through high school either?
Yeah, I graduated in 18. I played, year before I played football for Newton High. But I never had the opportunity to go any further to school because I say my father was a man and I had to be behind him at the store all the time. And let's see, that was right after the war, of course. Then he died in 24, so I took over. I had another younger brother.
Yeah.
The two of us, we managed to run the business before I sold in 67.
Did you have any other brothers or sisters living at home?
Yeah, well, I had a sister, and I had the older brother, the one that was in France during World War I. But they had no interest in business.
And did they settle in this area?
Yeah, my sister lived Craft Street, that's Newtonville.
Sure.
And my brother lived on the corner, married and lived on the corner of Pill. It's the next street over.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you were working for your father at the...
Yeah. Yeah. And the store trade was almost 85% Italian. Because this was almost a complete Italian neighborhood.
Sure.
We had plenty of Irish and French, and a small percentage of Jews.
Did you gear what you were selling in the store towards the Italian people?
Yeah, we catered to them.
Right.
Things that they could never get in chain stores. Odd underwear and odd clothing they like in the old country, I made sure to get it for them. Besides that, I helped to make at least 500 of them citizens.
Right.
Yeah.
How would you do this?
Well, I would get the applications for them and fill them out and get the books and kind of run over the questions.
Sure.
And then I would go in with them as a witness. They had to be at least 5 years in the country before they could become citizens. As a witness for them. And the most important thing of all was that I never charged a man a penny in my life, just to get the goodwill, and that paid off in the long run.
So, even at this time, was there a community spirit that you noticed, a rapport between you as a shop owner or working in the store and the people that came into the store?
Oh yes, even up until today, if I happen to meet one in the street, they say, "Oh my God, how we miss you, how we miss you."
Yeah.
And then besides that, Italian men who had their families in Italy, they were only here laboring. I helped them to make up bundles and send clothing to the families in Italy. I had one man come into me, he owned a Chevrolet garage at that time, and he said to me, "I'm going to Italy," he said. Oh, this was already after World War II. But anyway, he said, and I want to send, and he gave me a list of that line, so I'd like to make up bundles and this type of clothes and send it away. And when I get to Italy 6-7 weeks from now, he said, I like to have the stuff there, and I'll hand it out to my family there. I made up 7 bundles, came to over $300 because merchandise was very cheap then, and I sewed up all the merchandise in pillowcases. And all I had to do was sew up the ends, put the addresses on, and ship it out for them. And they came later, and I was over $300 for him alone. But he told me when he came back from Italy, he said, "You think I was there and measured everybody?" He said, "Everything fitted so perfect."
Really?
Yeah. It was really,
so they would appreciate what you were doing.
I had another experience on the same idea. Just had a woman won 2 trips to Italy up in the falls from the Catholic Church up there. And she said, she came to me and she said, so long as I can get in my passage over and back, she said, I'll buy all the merchandise here and you can make it up. And she went away from it. So I did. Same for us, I did for the other man. And it all turned out beautiful.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So would you say that after the war and through the 20s, things were pretty prosperous for
They
you
weren't.
and your
They
family.
weren't bad. We built that store in '23, and business was brisk at the time. There were no chain stores to worry about.
Sure.
They didn't come along until early '60s. Let's see, we sold out in '67, so they came along the latter part of '59 to '60 when King's
Right.
first came in town. And we thought that was the end of it for us, competition. But it didn't take long. They couldn't get the merchandise there that I had been accustomed to
Sure.
showing them.
Did you find then that people in Nonantum would pretty much shop exclusively at your place?
Oh, yes.
So
Why, they would.
pretty loyal.
Yeah, very loyal. They wouldn't go if they got the merchandise for nothing somewhere else. They wouldn't go because they appreciated all they had done for them in the past.
Sure. Hmm.
I don't know if you ever heard of Franchi Construction.
No.
He's a millionaire over and over builder. I helped to make his father a citizen. He sent to Italy for his wife and 5 or 6 children. They came over.
Can I just turn this on?
Yeah, sure.
It might be easy.
Yeah, turn it off.
I'll just
That's good.
Okay.
The boys all grew up eventually, went into the building business. In fact, one boy built up in Woburn. He's got a nursing home, and the bank building on Watertown Street belongs to him. And he's had millions and millions of dollars of the contracts. And I helped make his father a citizen. Immediately after that, he sent for his wife and children, and they're all very wealthy here.
That's good.
All went in the contracting business. That's just one out of the hundreds of cases of citizenship that I took care of.
Hmm. So you gained quite a bit of satisfaction.
Oh, yes, they were so loyal to me, all of them.
Was this something that your father had done?
No, my
before?
father died in '24.
Well, had he made attempts previously to reach out
Of course,
to
yeah, we had mostly Italian trade up until that time, too.
Right.
And they'd come in after World War I. They'd come in the store and buy trunks, fill them up with merchandise. And those days they went by boat. There were no planes, So they were able to take the trunks on board the ships and take as much merchandise as they wanted. Today they go in a suitcase. That's all there is to it.
Were you still in the 20s, say, living with your mother or with your
Well, I
father?
married in '22.
So that you were out on your own?
Yeah, right next door. We owned the house next door and I lived there.
While your mother and your
My
father?
mother and father lived here until '24, and then when my husband died in '24, I came over here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where did you meet your wife?
She was at Quincy. Yeah, she passed away 10 years next month.
And working at the department store was the way you supported yourself and supported your family?
Yeah.
Hmm. So you were married in 22,
22.
and did you have children?
Yeah, I had just a son and a daughter. And my son is a doctor in Framingham. He's an obstetrician gynecologist. And my daughter lives behind the Blind Institute on Center Street.
And did they go to school?
Oh yeah, one both of them graduated from Newton High, but the original school was at Stearns. It was torn down now. But that was just beyond here, short distance. And then they went to Newton High. My son was president of his class at the junior high.
Did you notice, you mentioned how you moved to a couple different houses on this street. Did you notice the neighborhood changing at all? Like people moving in, people moving
No.
through the 20s?
I think, well, of course, the Joyces that lived here, they were undertakers, but they're all dead now. So there are people living in there that are strangers to me now.
But after the war, say, people came back and life went on.
Oh, yes, and people remained in the same homes that they always had. And they own, this street here, for instance, they own all their own homes.
Sure.
They don't, there are a few, but very few that rent, but most of them own all their own homes.
And they're proud of their neighborhood and looking after each other.
There's an Irish family next door, but outside that, the rest of them are all Italians. The whole street. In fact, every house.
They're what?
Every house is Italian.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that didn't change at all?
Oh, no, we were the closest and the best of friends.
Yeah.
I'm Jewish and we get along just like brothers and sisters.
There was never any anti-Semitism?
Never, no.
That's
Never any anti-Semitism at all. We have a little church over on Adam Street.
I think
it's about the 3rd or 4th street over. And there was a little kid who went by lately and broke a window. But that's all the trouble we've ever had around here.
Really?
Yeah.
Was religion a large part of your family?
My family and my life.
After you married, it was something that you brought your children up as part of their life.
My daughter still came to a very Jewish home. And my son in Framingham was saying he belonged to temples.
Right.
And trying their best. Of course, the doctor doesn't have the opportunities that others may have because times he's so busy. Yesterday he worked 15 hours.
Were there many other Jewish families in Nonantum at that time?
Well, all the Jews in Newton practically lived in the same line. There was nobody in Newton Center in the 20s. The first temple was built in Newton Center was 1935, Temple Emmanuel. But previous to that, they all lived right around here. Between 4 or 5 streets here, all the Jewish families, probably 25 or 30 Jewish families. We supported the little temple that's over on Adams Street.
And did you have organizations, just Jewish people, to help each other out?
Oh, yes.
Even social organizations?
Yeah. And my mother used to go around collecting 50 cents here and $1 here for charity. In fact, I had a birthday this week. I became 80 years of age. I said to my children, and my grandchildren, and my friends, I don't need shirts or ties. Just give the money to charity and make me very happy.
Nice.
And that's exactly what happened. And the rabbi called me up, his secretary rather, called me the other day and said, would give us something. This is all the people that donated, honor at the temple.
Oh, that's nice.
So it was nice to hear.
Mm.
That's why I live my life. But I'm still managing the little Jewish synagogue that's over on Adams Street, but we're only open the Jewish holidays during the year.
Right.
And we'll be open next week for Passover.
Sure.
And then there's another holiday in June. And then the next holiday will be the Jewish New Year in September and October. So those are the only times of the year we're open.
And this is a synagogue that you've been going to for a long time?
Well, all my life.
Oh, it's been
Now,
there?
being that it's closed now, only open on holidays, I go to Temple Emmanuel in the center.
Mm. It was open though all the time during the
Previous
20s and 30s?
to, well, I could safely say to about 40.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the elderly men all passed away, and the children of these elderly men all moved out of the neighborhood, and they're all living either in the center or West Newton, and they go to the new temples, about 7 or 8 new temples in the city.
Right, so
Yeah.
then people had to go to another synagogue.
Yeah, sure.
Which did you go to?
Well, I go every Saturday morning, Temple Emmanuel.
And you've been going there since the 70s?
Yeah. Other than the Jewish holidays, I go to, I'm still acting as president.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really
But
good.
keep it going, because I know when I pass away, that's the end.
Yeah.
There's nobody living around now anymore, nobody interested. And we're lucky that we can get a quorum. See, Jewish people have to have a quorum of 10, at least, before we can conduct the service. So, we're very fortunate we get 10, a few more. We've been trying to get a few of other temples to give us a break.
Yeah. That's funny. Okay, well, I guess, if things were pretty prosperous through the 20s, did you notice, I guess there was a big change in your life with the Depression in the 30s?
Well, I was hit in depression the same as anybody else.
How was the...
But the reason I was able to manage and pull through was that the city needed clothes for people that were on welfare, and I was fortunate to get some of the business.
From the city?
From the city, yeah. And that way, I was able to exist and survive, rather, not exist, survive.
Mm.
And then after that, things came along okay, until, as I say, until Kings came along in the late 50s, early 60s, and for a while it looked bad, but then it all came back.
Say, through the end of the 20s and early 30s, was there a very noticeable change in prosperity, say?
Well,
all of a sudden,
things were so cheap, and people were working for very small pays, The city men probably got $35, $40 a week.
This was before the Depression?
Before and possibly after for a long while. And the taxes were very, very low. A house like this, we probably paid $80 to $100, for taxes.
Mm.
Even being brand new, that the rates were so low at the particular time, the assessments were low. But as time went along and everything got more expensive, the rates went up.
So, what effect, or how did the Depression affect you then? How did you notice the effects of the Depression?
Well, I noticed that you were getting behind in everything. And after you sold merchandise to the city and they were waiting for money from the government and you weren't able to meet your obligations, it was hard to get merchandise, you know. The rich got it, the big department stores got it, but the little fellas like me had to suffer along the line and wait for breaks. But I was very fortunate that the city gave me good breaks. And there wasn't really anybody in the city that could supply the merchandise as well as I could. There weren't too many stores. There was one in Westfield and another one down here. Well, I saw the time down here where we had 5 drugstores. Now we have 1. We've had 4 or 5 department stores. Now there isn't any. We had at least 12 or 15 Italian groceries. Now there's just 1. People all gone to the big chains. Now they're like Purity just opened up over here. My God. I think they're giving them the food away for nothing there, the way the people are killing themselves.
So this is a trend that you notice over the years?
Oh, yeah, sure.
People going to outside?
Yeah. Sure. The stores died out on this way. The only one remaining is Fox Drugstore on Watertown Street and Swartz Hardware. Those are the only 2.
And you've noticed this since the 30s or 20s?
No,
that
all happened. That all happened after that, after 30s and 20s. I think that happened over the 40s and 50s.
Sure, after the war.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did your customers change during the Depression, or?
No.
They still came.
They still came to me. They brought their orders that they got from the welfare to me. One day they called me up to go over to the school. There was 40 kids sitting around the basement of the school there, and I had to measure every one of them for a pair of shoes. Well, that's the conditions that existed at the time.
How were people coping in Nonantum during the Depression?
Well, there was plenty of work. We had several factories here on Chapel Street. There was the Rose Dairy that made mattresses. Next to Rose Dairy was Fraternity Thread. They made thread. And the Raytheon was here. And Saxony Worsted Mills was down where King's is now. Shepherd Worsted Mills. We had the Sinclair Weeks had a factory up at this truck, excuse me, on the right-hand side. They moved it all to Burlington now. But they made auto parts, I think. I don't know what they made there. But they employed hundreds of people. And this little square was prosperous.
Even so.
Yeah.
And if there was a community spirit, did that continue through the 30s? People?
I think so. I think so, yeah.
Did this is a largely Italian area?
I could say between 85 and 90%.
And they moved in, I think, around the turn of the century.
Yeah.
Did you notice those people changing as it got,
well,
as they
the
had
children
became
came
settled?
along.
Right.
you know, the old folks stuck to me. But when the children came along, they were looking for bigger varieties, you know, and my store wasn't a large store. They were looking for big department stores. But the old folks, the day they died, I used to carry the high-cut shoes, you know, for the elderly men. And I knew them all so well that when they come in, they said, want a pair of shoes? All I had to do was go to the shelves and pull out a box and wrap it up. That's all it was doing. A woman would come in, I knew she wore a nurse's comfort shoe, grab a box and wrap it up, and she paid me. That's all it was. She didn't have to try it on. Plus, I sold hundreds of pairs over the years.
And these were the
familiarity we had.
Yeah, the older customers.
Yeah, the elderly folks, you know.
But then as they became settled and had children, this
when the
stopped.
younger generation came on and grew up, of course.
Sure.
But while they were small, the folks still had to say. In those days, it was like today, you know, the children, 90% of them Boston folks. Those days you had to respect father and mother. Father pointed the finger at you, you know, he meant it. But today, the city, look what happened yesterday, killed an 80-year-old woman.
I didn't hear that.
It's a horrible thing to do. Just for a joke. You know, get some of the money to go out and buy jokes. At least they got them. So it's a horrible thing what's going on in the world.
So you could notice this in the people of this area, the changing of control of the parents would have.
I haven't noticed it because I've never been in the homes of these people. I know, thank God, my children are respectful. They respect me, and I don't have to worry about it. But I couldn't say what's going on next door. They look all right from the outside, and what's going on inside. I don't know of a soul that ever had any trouble around here. I can safely say that.
That's good.
I don't believe that I ever saw a police wagon on the street.
And so, going back to this time, the 20s and the 50s, you know, it's the same thing. There's never any.
Oh, beautiful. I was never afraid to walk out in the middle of the night. I wouldn't be afraid to walk down the street, you know. Not only this street, but any street in the whole territory. All of them there, you know, from between here and Helen Street.
Sure. Okay, yeah. Maybe, Okay, during the 30s, your children were still pretty young.
Yeah, my one was born, I was married at 22, my daughter was born at 24, and my son was born at 27. So they were quite young.
And growing up right through this period.
Yeah.
I don't want to ask you if you were a close family, but did you do a lot of things with your children? Did you go out? Did you take vacations?
Oh, yeah. We went everywhere together. Everywhere together.
Were weekends a big time?
Well, during that, we went to Concord. First, it was all Orchard Beach when they were real small. And we'd be there for a month. I'd leave them there, come back to take care of business. On weekends, I'd go down.
Sure.
But my wife and the children were there. From Concord, we came to, from Old Orchard, we came to Concord. But then they grew up, and my son was already in 16 and a half.
16.
Yeah. He was a doctor at 18 and a half.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, well, he started in the school over here.
He was in school.
And then...
That was from the 1st to the 6th. And he got the 6th. And was the junior high school up in Newtonville. That was 3 grades. And then he went to high school.
Mm.
And daughter the same.
Right.
She was older. Came first. And 16 and a half, he was out of high school, and he went right to Tufts over in Cambridge. He went to the president's house on a Sunday, who lived in Lexington, I think, for an interview on his own. I was afraid to go in. He went
Really?
out by himself. The president says, "You're only 16. He says, "Why don't you go out and see the world for a year or two?" He says, "Then come back." He says, "We want you. We're glad of your reputation. We want you." And he says, "I want to get through as fast as I can." The Second World War is coming on. So at 16 and a half, he was in pre-med,
Tufts.
and in pre-med, in medical school, 23 was all through.
Mm.
He went to Pratt an internship. He was there 5 years, and then went to go back.
Mm.
That was very, very wonderful.
Was this fairly unusual at the time?
Very unusual. In fact, when he was in grammar school here at Stanton, they wanted to give him double promotion. They got one, they wanted to give him another. And the principal, in fact, I can tell it here, the principal didn't advise it. Said you'll only be 11 years old going to high school.
Yeah. It's a tough story.
Yeah, he says the other people are looking down on him. The Tufts, I got his report got here, 38 days.
That's scary stuff.
Some days too. That's very well. He was fortunate. He opened a book once and looked at it. That's all he needed. Other boys that he helped along the line had to study all night. They couldn't solve it. He had to look at it once and it was all through. Very smart, very cool.
Was he out of the house then after he went off to school?
No, he stayed at home. I bought him a car and he traveled back and forth in Tufts and from medical school. He had a very, very bad accident one winter. He skidded in the tracks in Watertown. Hit a tree and the car folded up. Like he didn't get killed.
This was while
He
he was...
when he traveling to Tufts method on the hill.
I guess the roads in this area probably weren't very good.
Well, it was the slippery track in Watertown. All the roads have always been decent. I've got no complaint.
Mm.
See how country is today. That road is put down 40, 50 years ago, I think. Just as good today as it was then.
You haven't noticed the physical change? You haven't noticed much of the physical change? No? I guess progressing a little bit through the 30s, I guess if things were bad right after the 1929 and through the early 30s.
Yeah, well, that was the Depression time.
Right. Did you notice things changing, say possibly getting better or even worse through the 30s?
Things got worse because everybody was on welfare.
Mm.
I was fortunate that I wasn't kind of having the still, but I had a hard time getting merchandise.
Right.
couldn't get a white shirt, went to the big department stores first, and I came second or third. And clung to it, as I say, the city helped to pull me through.
What happened when the war came, the Second World War? Did things pick up then?
Oh, yes. Well, everybody, government was spending plenty of money to get things ready because we were asleep at on the West Coast there when they blew up all our ships out there. And we had to hurry up and build an army and a navy and an air force and everything. So everybody was busy.
There was plenty of jobs for people.
Oh, yes.
So the war didn't affect you though personally or your
No.
family?
No, I was too old. My brother was too old. And my son had to join. He thought he was going to be shipped out to the Navy. Instead of that, they sent him over to Chelsea Naval Hospital. He was delivering the babies over there. He was lucky.
Yes. Would you say it affected the war affected your general day-to-day living? Were you forced to do without a lot of things?
Well,
Were there
we had
hardships?
blackouts, you know. We were allowed to light lights at night. I was an officer stationed in different places through the city during the night, waiting for emergency calls, and other fellows were patrolling the streets. But I thought nothing happened.
So the hardships were definitely bearable.
Oh, yeah.
Changes that you had to make.
Yeah. I know anybody that suffered here during World War II. Only ones that suffered were those poor souls that had to go in the army and get killed overseas and all that business. But otherwise, the others got rich out of it.
Was there a strong feelings of patriotism
I think
in
so.
this community?
I think so. Yeah. There's no reason why not. They were all making good money
Sure.
in factories.
A lot of.
Outside laborers.
Were there a lot of war production factories?
Oh, yes. And we had plenty. The Raytheon was here first. There was their first building was right here. And they spread out everywhere after that. But their first building was right here on Chapel Street, which is the next street over, out to the right. And from there they went to Waltham.
And were they still employing basically people from this area?
Oh, yes. And the high-cliff switch up further up down the street there were any woman that wanted to work could get a job just as easy as not. And that's why a lot of the Chinese men and women were able to buy their homes. Like I said, I have a housekeeper who's out today. But like I said to her, if there wasn't a depression to come on, it couldn't be too bad because the majority of the people own their own homes now. In those days, they couldn't pay their rents.
So it's interesting the point you make about women working during the war. Were women working before that?
100%, oh, yes.
How about before the war? Were they working?
No.
It was.
No, it was during World War II there that the Italian women especially got jobs. And even now, they go all the way out to Burlington. The bus picks them up at the head of my street, and every afternoon, and the mornings at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, one right here next door, Italian woman. Picks her up, I think, about 6 or 7 o'clock every morning, and brings her back at around 4, and then they pick up another crowd at 4 at the head of the street there and take them to the building. They come back at 11.
Has that family lived next door for a long time?
Well, I sold the house 25 or 30 years ago. Got his mortgage all paid now. Retired from the fire department. Very comfortable.
I'm curious about, with the war and the changes that was made. That was the first time that women from this area would generally go to work.
I think that's the first time they went to work.
Previously, it was...
Yeah, they were at home. Yeah.
And...
Of course, the majority of that class there now, the children were all grown up already by that time, see?
Right.
And because the next generation was ready to come along, and those women were able to leave the houses and go to work.
After the war, did this continue?
Yeah, this is working till today. As I'm telling you, they pick them up here at the head of the street with buses and take them all the way to Burlington. That's our big factory up on the right-hand side there. The Atlas home was owned by the Weeks family. Sinclair Weeks.
After this war, then, been through 2 wars, did things change again here, starting with the industry that was built up to produce for the war? Did that change? Did industry leave, or did it just change?
Well, I noticed that after the war was over, a lot of these factories closed up.
Because they couldn't survive?
Well, no, I don't think that was the reason. I don't know why. Probably they made so much money during the war that they wanted to close. Raytheon, who employed several hundred people, they moved to Waltham, and now they're all over the map. Rose Dairy that made mattresses, they went out of business. Oh, Mr. Rose died, that's right. The Doherty Thread that made the thread down there, he passed away. So that was the reason that the few factories that I know of around here closed up. And then the Aqua Switch, they only closed up a few years ago, and they moved to Burlington. 120 years ago, so much land out there. Probably built from the factories out.
So with factories closing, then were the people of this area, did they generally move to another kind of work? Or?
Well, evidently, because you can't get anybody around here to do a single thing. I mean, everybody's employed. You know, the city of Newton is, the state of Massachusetts has got the lowest employment of any state in the Union. And the story here, carpenter lives next door downstairs. He pulls out at 7:30 in the morning, and you don't see him coming back home till 6 at night.
So people continue to do pretty well.
I think so. Yeah, as I say, everybody owns their own now. They got nothing to worry about. They've made money over the years, and they're comfortable and well taken care of.
backtracking a little bit.
Sure.
The store, it was your father's store, is it?
Yeah, he built it.
In
We had a store in this corner where the garage is, and then 1923 we built a store across the street. But we started the one on this corner 1900 when I was born, and '01. And after 23 years, he bought the property across the street and built that store. The following year he died. But that's the story there.
And then through the succeeding years,
Well, everything went along beautiful for 24, 40, 43 years that I was there with my brother.
did the store expand at all?
No.
It stayed pretty much.
Stayed pretty much the same. Yeah.
And the clientele, the people that came in.
Yeah, that changed a lot too. A lot of Italian men went home to Italy and never came back. The new ones that came in, it took them a long time to get acquainted. But as I helped to make them the citizens that they became, built the business like that again. And when King's opened up, that hurt us a little while, but it all came back.
And it was mostly people from this area who would shop at your store?
Oh, yeah.
Not, would you say that not many people then from other areas would come in?
Well, not too many. We had a pretty good reputation. Not too many from other areas.
Okay. You were married in the early 20s. Did your wife then, when the war came, was she forced to work? Or
No.
she was mostly at home all the time?
Always. She helped me out in the store on the side, even the busy day of the week. You know, in those days, the pays were always on a Saturday. And she helped me out on Saturday. Both wives, my brother's wife and my wife. And of course I had other help. But,
was it you and your brother who were?
yeah, we were only.
Just you two? Because you had another...
Yeah, well, he wasn't interested.
Right.
You know, and my sister was married to a doctor, so she wasn't interested. You know, so it was the whole family.
Where did your brother then live? The one that owned the store with you?
Well, for a while he lived next door, upstairs, and I lived downstairs. And then he bought a house eventually in West Newton and moved up there.
Okay.
And I remained here with my half-wife.
Do you think the community of Nonantum changed after the war very much?
No,
Not at
I
all?
didn't see a single thing. The only new thing that ever came into Nonantum was the Italian 440 club that they have down California Street there. And they it's a beautiful building. In fact, they gave our little church a gift of $1,000. And all the rest of the churches in the city all got gifts from them. But the only changes that really that were made was that everybody went out of business after I closed up. I don't know why.
After
After I sold my building, all
which
the
was in
rest
the
of the
60s.
stores all went out of business. The only ones left is Hawk's Drug and Swartz Hardware. Those the only two.
Were there a lot of people from Nonantum that went off to the war, that fought in the war?
Oh yes. No, we had my sister-in-law had a picture with my brother, and there was 7 in the group. They called themselves the Lucky Seven from Nonantum. They all came back alive.
But
they're all gone now. This one is living right now. He's not a kid. Sad and so.
the people that came back after the war, the people that had gone off to fight, say, did you notice a change in them? Did they come back to Nonantum with different expectations?
No, I realize now.
They went back to life as it
went
was.
back to their regular jobs. Most of them will become firemen or policemen.
Mm.
Two of them I know, three of them I know were firemen. Keith, Charlie, Bibbo, three. One was a letter carrier, Bowling. Yeah, they all got decent jobs after they came back.
Mm.
Yeah.
Did you employ people at your store?
Yeah, I had two besides my brother and I. We had four. As much as we could keep. Afford to keep.
Mm.
Still was not big.
Right. Mm.
It was a good living for both of us. That was the most important
Mm.
part of it.
It was something that could support both your families.
Yeah.
Mm.
Too many at work.
And you worked well with your brother? There wasn't
Yeah.
any...
40 years we were together.
Mm.
It was really something.
Sure. Did you have any outside interests, just entertainment interests? Did you go to many ball games?
We had season tickets for hockey and the ball games every Sunday. And we take the families, leave them at the public gardens and with the children. And we and I go to the ball game, come back there and pick them up and take them home.
Mm.
We didn't have to worry about anybody attacking them those days.
No.
Not like today.
Was there a lot of spirit around the Boston sports teams?
Oh, yes.
Mm.
I think. Although I heard the announcement today that nothing left but standing room.
Mm. So something that's continued
Yeah,
and...
well, it's only opening day today, everybody.
Yeah.
Tomorrow it'll be happen.
But even...
opening day.
But even back then, I guess the war kept people busy, but people were genuinely interested in sports and
Oh,
dances.
yeah, I think
That
so.
was a big event.
Yeah, I think so. Even the Titans were green. They were all out. They played butch, and they had their clubs, you know, and they loved sports too. My brother used to play right along with them.
And they would let people in if they weren't that
Sure, we
exclusive.
mixed just as though before my father died, we'd walk down the street, all the Italians would tip their hats to him.
Mm. Did this change over the years?
No, I'm not sure. I don't know them now. Those old timers are all gone to rest. The majority that I see along the streets now, I don't know them at all. They don't go very far now. One. Yeah, they up the head of the street and back, and it was a big deal.
If Nonantum was a fairly close-knit community during the teens and 20s, was it still so in the 40s? Were people of Nonantum genuinely concerned about the other citizens of this community?
Oh, I don't know much about that. I don't know. I don't think that they were one more concerned about the other.
Were they concerned about the town itself?
We never made any improvements down here. There's been a lot of talk going on, and the only improvements now I see along the main street there. They got nice trees planted and bushes and some seats here and there. But this is all in the last few years that the government has allowed the cities and towns, to they put up improvements. They give them a little money and they can improve.
But previously, it wasn't.
No, there was no thing. Same old building, the same old thoroughfare.
I don't have too many more questions. Were there any big, say, town events or any events that stand out?
Years ago, we used to have wonderful ball teams. Oh, my goodness. We used to parade from here up to West Newton Common. We used to play the Catholic Club up there. And over in Cabot, we had beautiful ball games every Saturday. We have teams come from different sections, Boston. 4th of July, we'd have Stand School, we'd have all kinds of fun games going on. But that's the thing of the past.
When was that then?
Well, it was in the 20s, 30s, up until possibly World War II.
And then it just
Yeah.
Was this did Nonantum get together a ball team that would play?
Oh, yeah. You know what the boys' club is? You know what my store used to be in the corner? So the boys' club is just 3 buildings beyond it. Right opposite used to be a club called the Nonantum, NAA, Nonantum Athletics. It was one of the finest ball teams. They were just like professionals. Finest.
And that would bring out a lot of the people to see.
Sure. So we'd hire a band and a wagon and horses, and we'd all parade from here to West Newton and Cabot Park. Everybody, We had the police had their own softball teams.
Something has changed. I think you can probably end it right there. If there's nothing else you want to say.
I really did the best I could.
That's good. I think it's